Niners win. Niners win. Unbelievable. All right, it's preseason game number 2. The Krug Show commences right now. Some of our favorites in the house, Frank Red, Dan Coach Emilio. I believe the coach is going to stop by as well. We've invited JD. You won't see Kev in his curly hair tonight. I believe he's got a hot date. Welcome to the Krug Show.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you won't get exact.
And already, mistakes have been made. All right, we're off and running after 49er football. Preseason game number 2 is in the books. So much for the Chargers dominated the practice. 41-17, the 49ers dominated the game. A lot of good things to talk about. We're getting it rolling. Hope everybody's having a fantastic Thursday. It's Thursday, August the 20th. Of course, the Krug Show brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. Soon to open in Petaluma. I keep saying it. It's true. It's going to come. It's going to come. We're also brought to you by Novato Chevrolet, NovatoChevrolet.com on the web. I'm currently driving a Chevrolet Traverse. I drove today to Chico, dropped my kid off at college, said, hey, good luck, son. Get out there and fight it out. But good luck to Ben at Chico. And did it in the Traverse. Thank you to Gus, the owner at Novato Chevrolet, NovatoChevrolet.com on the web. Check out their website. It's really, really good.
That's
really
a nice big SUV. Pretty good size, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. If you wanted to ride, I could have given you one. You know, 3 rows of seating, Danny.
Yeah, I probably would have been in the back, huh?
Yeah, the way back.
Way back.
Maybe a partition between us. No, but good to see you guys, and also thank you to, as I said, Novato Chevrolet. We're also brought to you by Prize Picks. Let me just quickly mention the Krug Show brought to you by Prize Picks, and Prize Picks is with us every show, and they're America's #1 sports picks app. They're super simple. You just pick more or less on player stats. It's available in almost all the states. California is one of them. Prize Picks is a brand new offer. Sign up with code HMA, and you play your first $5 lineup. If it's a winner, you get $150 in bonus lineups. So check it out. Code HMA, play $5, get $150 free bonus lineups if you're a winner, chicken dinner on that first pick. All right, we're off and running, though. Good game. Guys, what'd you think? 41-17. Lots of heroes in this game. I thought Brock Purdy and Mac Jones, just a quick thoughts off the shoot. Brock Purdy and Mac Jones, I thought both played really, really well. They look sharp. Dejon Stribling and Kalen Black, it's hilarious. They were called reaches on draft day. One thing you can say right now here in late August, they're going to be significant contributors this year to this offense, and you saw examples of it tonight. Carver Willis got the start at left guard. I don't know who's really stepping up in that regard, but the Niners, I thought, got some interesting contributions on the O-line from it, some backup players. We'll talk about that later on. Romello Height, I thought, had a nice little tackle for loss. Garrett Wallow was throwing himself all over the field. Jack Jones continues to play really good football. He had a huge PBU on the 3rd and goal from the 3. Yeah. I thought that was a fantastic play. Sincere McCormick has been running the ball well all summer, and he had a 33-yard run and then a 7-yard touchdown run. He looked good. The Niner O-line kind of took it to the Chargers a little bit. Jacob Cowing, who, hey, he needed this. Otherwise, he's on the verge of getting cut, traded, or potentially beaten out for the punt return job. 83-yard house call on the punt return. Niners haven't had a punt return since Ted Ginn. It's been a while. Tatum Bethune, Nick Martin flying around making plays. It looked like Martin might have pulled a hamstring late. So a lot of really good stuff. Danny highlighted before we jumped on here about Braden Willis, and Braden Willis is interesting. The Niners their Niners best draft designation is this gold helmet thing. And they gave him the gold helmet when they drafted him coming out of Oklahoma. They really liked him. He's, as a tight end, he's kind of undersized. He's more of a receiving tight end. He struggles to block defensive ends on the line of scrimmage. But as what he really might be is just the fullback and maybe the future juice. And so, I mean, good win for the 49ers. A lot of things to talk about. And we're going to get to all of it. And of course, if you're in the chat, what stood out to you? Throw your comments in there and we'll put some of them up on the board as we go through the game. But let's go around the room and Red, we'll start with you. What'd you think? Big win for the 49ers and an impressive win for a lot of their young players.
Yeah, when I looked at the team, I was worried about competition, who's going to step up. You mentioned a lot of the guys who were flying around, particularly at the linebacking position. Last year, Fred Warner got hurt. I mean, people were devastated because we didn't know how they were going to put together a linebacking core. I don't think that you have that same sense at this point because they have a lot of depth. I don't know who's going to make the team, but a lot of names are flying around and not looking nervous. Martin last year at times appeared not to be able to play in space. I don't see that now. He's attacking the football like I thought that he would. The guy that I really had my eyes on was Kalon Black. I watched him extensively last year in Indiana, and when he was drafted in the third round, like you said, people were talking about him being a reach. He's not a reach. That guy is going to produce this year, and I was happy to see him get an opportunity tonight because he played well.
Yeah, he looked good. Niners ran it 36 times for 146 yards, 3 touchdowns, 4-1 a carry as a team. Sincere McCormick, 6 carries, 53 yards. That's 8.8 a carry. That was impressive. Kalon Black could have hit a couple, did take some big hits too. 8 for 33 yards, 4-1 a carry. His long was 9. Zamir White, 12 carries for 29 yards. He struggled a little bit. Khalil Herbert looked pretty good at times. 4 carries for 17 yards, 4-3 a carry, and he got in the end zone. Danny, what'd you think of the game?
Yeah, I really loved watching the younger players, especially, the first drive with Purdy looked pretty good. The balls to Stribling were great. Stribling, every time I see 15, I you obviously think of Juwan Jennings, but then you look and you go, wait, this guy isn't as big. He's quicker. He's got a better quickness in his routes, his cuts, a little sharper than Jennings, and the catches he was using, not using his body to reach out, catch. He did drop the one ball, but that happens. The one from Mac Jones, a beautiful throw near the end of the half.
I mean, Matt could have had a bigger night. He had Watkins and Stribling drop touchdowns.
Yeah, the one that Watkins dropped. But what I liked tonight was, football's a young man's game. It really is. And sometimes it takes a couple years to develop. And I saw a lot more out of Cowing tonight. He had a great kickoff return that was nullified by a penalty for illegal motion or whatever, lining up wrong. And then the punt return, taking it to the house. You love to see that. And one of the things I noticed with Cowing tonight when he ran that back was the excitement among his teammates, which tells me they like the kid. Mm-hmm. They got to really like the kid because he's on the bubble. If you saw Debo getting pumped up, running down the sideline for him, that's what that is all about, I believe, is, man, kid, you're going to make it. You're going to make it. They're excited for the kid because he struggled his first 2 seasons. He's been AWOL, and he runs it all the way back. And, hopefully if he doesn't make the team, he keeps his career alive. Someone picks him up because good kid, was great at Arizona.
Beyond, good kid. I mean, he played with Tedoroa McMillan at Arizona, but
right.
He was good in 2 different offenses, one at UTEP and one at Arizona. And, he's interesting because he is the combo of legit 4.3 speed, but like kind of advanced ball skills. Now, where he hasn't necessarily shown that in the pros yet, but he caught like 80 balls or something like that at in college one year. So you're talking about a guy who's very productive, high volume receiver, and he's got down the field ability to separate and ball.
What I'd love to see, Larry and Red, is if they can somehow carry Watkins and Cowing, and I don't want to see younger players with speed leave the building, because if you lose those guys for maybe a 1-year guy that's got 1 year left in the tank and you lose them for good, you're blowing your future. And if there's a choice between the younger, more athletic guy, and it's so close, I'm always going to take the younger guy.
I mean, this is the way I'd go at wide receiver right now if everybody's healthy. Mike Evans, Deebo Samuel, Dejon Stribling, Demarcus Robinson, Jordan Watkins, and Jacob Cowing.
There you go.
And I would, the Texans had Christian Kirk last year. They just lost Jaden Higgins. If I were the Niners, I would see if I could get something from the Texans for Christian Kirk. Just send him back there. He's been comfortable there. He was just there. His last game with them, he had 144 yards in the playoffs against the Steelers. I mean, he really looked good in the playoffs. Probably the best game of his career. So I don't know. I mean, I would see if I could move him to them. And
Watkins looked good tonight.
The other guys, I mean, Hodge made a couple nice plays.
Yeah.
We didn't see Wesley Grimes. I think they're kind of hiding him, trying to not let him show him much and slide him to the practice squad. Trenton Irwin made some plays, but yeah, I think it's Evans, Samuel, Stribling, Robinson, Watkins, and Cowing. And that's a pretty good receiving core. I mean,
I like it. It gives you some flexibility with speed, Watkins and Cowings, and then you got the veterans with Samuel and Evans. Stribling is playing like a veteran as a rookie. He's starting to look kind of like maybe the Niners maybe knew what they were doing.
Robinson's a vet as well. I mean,
Robinson's a good vet. I like Robinson a lot. Yeah,
Robinson's had a great camp. I asked Purdy about him, and he's like, this guy knows where he's supposed to be. Brock said, we talked about it in the offseason that, hey, we got to get this guy more involved. 2 years ago, people forget 2 years ago, this guy scored like 9 touchdowns, and he was really good in the red zone. He's this great rub route, red zone pick play guy, and he's got great ability to kind of free himself up in the short area. I mean, I think the 49ers between DeMarcus, Evans, when Kittle gets right, CMC, Kalen Black in the flat, I think in Purdy throwing strikes, if the O-line can do their part, I think it would be really this could be a very dominating red zone offense. I think there's potential for this to be a very dominant red zone offense because you got guys who can absolutely do it, in the painted area and just and get into the end zone and score touchdowns. What did you guys think of the Niner O-line overall? Because it's a big discussion point. Is like who's going to start at left guard and how good is this line and can it stand up to the Rams and Seahawks? I mean, to me, it's I walked out of Seattle last year thinking, God, man, they got to improve their line, and they didn't really, right? They just basically brought the same guys back, but Trent looks great, and McKivitz is playing at a high level.
Yeah.
Pooney
was out tonight, right?
Pooney was out. I think Brendel might have been out.
I think Austin Pleasant could be a guy that is he in consideration at all for the left guard?
He is, but you saw he got burned late in this game and gave up a huge hit. I mean Austin. He's the guy. I mean, basically on the pick 6 that Martinez threw, he missed the block, and that put now Martinez could have taken the safety or could have tried to throw it away or whatever, but I mean, instead he just kind of floated it and got it picked. And I mean, it was a preseason game, but that was a negative play. And you could see Pleasant. I don't know if Pleasant has the agility to move around inside. But I'll tell you the thing that was fun for me to watch in this game, a lot of the young Niner defenders. I mean, the Notre Dame safety, Jalen Stroman. We've talked a lot about the safety position. We really haven't talked that much about Stroman this summer. And here it is, gets in a preseason game, 6 tackles, couple big hits, 5 solo tackles. He wasn't perfect by any means. He gave up some plays, but and had a couple of really bad plays too. But Stroman was active. He was active. He's interesting. Nobody's really discussed him as a possibility to get that 4th safety job, and he might have gotten it Tatum Bethune, Nick Martin, Garrett Wallow. How about those three guys? Garrett Wallow, I keep calling him a special teams linebacker, but this guy was great in Philadelphia in the playoffs. I think he had like 11 tackles in the game. He was just flying all over the field. Tonight, he just made play after play, 4 tackles, a couple solo. It seemed like he even did more than that.
Yeah, Nick Martin had a good game with tackles too, 5 and 4 solos before he got. Hopefully, it's not too serious.
Yeah, it looked like a hamstring. Looked like a hamstring, which, they do have good numbers at linebacker. Maybe that helps them keep a Larry Worth. I saw Larry Worth made a play late in the game, but Bryson Eason up front, the big defensive tackle, had a nice play in the backfield. Romello Height had a tackle for a loss in this game. So we got a chance to see a lot of their young players: Jaden Duggar, Jordan Watkins, Jacob Robinson. How about Jacob Robinson? He dropped the pick 6, but the BYU corner is in his second year, and he runs 4.3. Right. And it's like, is he going to make the team? He may not, but he had a great game tonight.
You talking about Robinson?
Jacob Robinson, 43.
Now, yeah, he is he
second
playing,
year?
Is he? You said he was with BYU as safety, but he's playing linebacker, right?
No, he's playing corner. He's a corner. He's
corner because
slot corner.
Okay, I saw the one play where it kind of went through his hands, but it looked like he was in position where he wasn't playing corner there. But maybe I was.
Yeah, I think he was playing in the slot, and he just dropped in, read the quarterback's eyes, and had it. I mean, it was just right there, and dropped it. And it was the kind of play that, that's the kind of play that would have put him on the map, not just with the Niners. It would have put him on the map, elsewhere around the league. He would almost guarantee that he would probably be on somebody's roster because he's played well. And he's got great speed. I mean, as I said, 4.36 speed, and he's a smart, competitive, athletic corner who, he's good. I mean, he really is a good player. We welcome in the coach who joins us.
No.
No.
He's not dressed.
He's not dressed. He's putting on his makeup, and he's practicing his lines. But it was an interesting game because, maybe, these roster debates sometimes solve themselves. They have an extra linebacker or two, and I'm thinking, man, what are they going to do? Are they going to wind up cutting one of these guys? Well, maybe Nick Martin's got a hamstring, and will have to miss a few weeks and go on PUP, and maybe they'll go with a Garrett Wallow. But I just think Wallow's incredible. I mean, Tim Ryan was like, man, this guy's a football player. He just makes plays. I mean, the guy's just all over the place. He's hitting. He's playing with his hair on fire. He's not, he's got weaknesses. He's not the greatest player, but
he reminds me of Gary Reasons.
Yeah, I mean, he just fly. Gary Reasons from the Giants, from the Giants of the 80s. Yeah, with Pepper Johnson and LT and Carl Banks. Yeah,
just knows how to play.
Knows how to play.
I mean, he's 227 pounds, about 6'2". He's not the biggest guy.
No.
But he's always in position. He puts his head in there. You got to have guys like that on your team. He already has a track record based on what he did in Philly. So cutting that guy, I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to be on the team.
Let's hit a couple of these supers before we welcome in the coach who's going to join the conversation. Here we go. We got this one right here from thoughts of an Uber driver. I know this is only preseason. What's the bigger story? The Chargers' loss and penalties, or the Niners' win? I just think it's interesting. People overreacted to the practice. It's a practice. And I explained why the Niners got beat. They got beat because there was no Bosa, there was no Mikel, there was no pressure, there was nobody's. And also, it's like there's also when I'm looking on the binoculars, I'm watching some running plays, and I feel like I'm seeing 49er players kind of run by Charger players. But that's the code of these practices. You're not jacking guys up in the middle of the field in August. You're just not. You're going to tag off on them usually. You're not bringing them necessarily to the ground. And so a lot of times these long runs, it's like, were they long runs or was the guy tagged off by Nick Martin, 3 yards after contact? It's like, so, yes, I was watching some runs where guys are running down the field, but I'm also seeing Niner linebackers like running by them in that same area. And I just think people might have overreacted. This Charger team, is a good team, but 49ers are a pretty, well-coached outfit. They're an organization that's been together longer than the Chargers group has been. And maybe the Niners felt a little challenged by the way the Chargers kind of ran things. And you had Brennan Thompson and some of the guys talking trash saying, hey, we torched them or whatever it was. So maybe they took it personally because it did seem like 49ers were rolling. It was the spread in the game was Chargers -1.5. So, if you took the Niners, you're feeling good. But I think at the biggers, what do you guys think? I mean, the Chargers were sloppy. Every single time they had an opportunity to do anything in this game, flag against them. The penalties, at one point, Harbaugh walked by, there were a lot of offensive penalties. At one point, Harbaugh walked by Mike McDaniel and just seemed kind of like, it kind of gave him a glance. And it's like, if it goes great, those guys are going to get along incredible. But if it doesn't go great, Mike McDaniel might need to buy a second pair of glasses. I could see his first pair getting broken at some point.
I've never seen a Harbaugh team play so sloppy. Never. Even going back to Stanford. The Niners played well, but I don't care if it's preseason or not. They didn't play like a Harbaugh coach team tonight, and that was just interesting to me. The number of mistakes, the penalties, I just thought they were terrible.
Yeah, it was a bad display by the Chargers. I thought they were really sloppy. All right, without further ado, we go back east to a man who is in a time zone where it's almost 2:00 in the morning. I'm dedicated, but you know what? It's 10:45. Danny's dedicated, but what time is it there, Danny?
Same, 10:45.
10:45. Red, you're here in the Pacific time zone. We go to the Eastern time zone for the
Let's get it cracking. We're back. 41 points. You think it's quiet over here just because it's 2 in the morning on the East Coast? The Niners showed up, Larry. Woo! What a game! What a game!
Oh, man. And then they said it was preseason and nobody cared. Come on.
Man.
We need the coach to lead the team out onto the field with the boombox.
Hey, dog. Hey, all you got to do is get the grass going, man. Just get me grass and plastic, man, and I know the game is ready to go. It's August, boys. We got less than 2 weeks, man. It's time to go to Melbourne, and they finally showed form. I'm just excited about so many things that we've been trying to see throughout training camp. Keelan Black. Dog.
Draft was profitable.
The pass blocking. Did you see the pass? I get the runs. The runs were awesome. But the pass blocking from Keelan Black was amazing.
Really good.
He's a tough guy, man. How about the short yardage running? Nobody. People have talked about how quick he looks, but his real game is that if on 2nd and 2, 3rd and 1, he's going to get that yard. Like he was a little fidgety today, but he's going to get more natural. He's going to feel it a little bit more, but his leg strength is off the freaking charts. And he's going to be a short yardage monster.
Yeah. They played with a lot of confidence. They were efficient. They were poised. Design Striblin, he just makes it look easy. One thing that I love about his game is that he's smooth. You don't see a lot of wasted movement. It's when you get him on the long routes. All right. Now, he's a work in progress from 8 yards to the line of scrimmage. All right. All of the short intermediate things, we got to be able, that's just being a pro and learning how to sit down in your routes, getting a little bit of patience. And that's what Mike Evans and the older guys are there for. But they look like starters. That's like the biggest thing that popped out to me is that we've been watching a lot of backup football lately. Okay, and it felt good to finally see a starting running back, a starting quality running back run with the Niners offensive line. It kind of looks a little different when you got a back who's talented enough to make you right up front, right? The Niners predicate themselves on using an outside zone offensive line scheme, and it's basically baked into everything that they do. Inside zone, outside zone, and gap scheme. They try to make it look the same way every time. They got this technique where they love to have 2 feet coming off the line of scrimmage before they pass the line of scrimmage. And Coach Forrester's mantra is that we want to block people past the line of scrimmage. So it's a lot of paint by numbers, if you will, when it comes to blocking up front. And you got to have an intelligent back who knows how to make a guy right, who knows how to press the hole at the right time, knows how to press that aiming point. And you saw a lot of that with Keelan Black today. I was just very happy with the run game. You look at what the Niners did on the run, Larry. I mean, my God, this is the best that I've seen them do in a while. 36 touches for 146 yards, 4.1 yards a carry. At halftime, we were averaging 5.8 yards a carry. You look at what the Chargers did on the ground. They did 20 carries for 68 yards. The 2 biggest runs that they had for most of the entire game outside of Greg Dorsey's big run was Trey Lance's 42 yards running, right? So don't look now, but the boys up front did their job on stopping the run. Now, if we're going to be honest, it wasn't necessarily a valiant effort from the Chargers on the ground. They weren't necessarily pressing the issue, but I would say you don't press the issue when it gets shut down early, and that's what happened. They tried out with starters. We had a TFL earlier on in the first series. I just like what the linebackers were doing today, man. We saw a lot of Tatum Bethune coming on late. We still got some cameos from Jaden Duggar. Larry Worth III is stepping on, even though we know Larry's probably a year away. He's got so much talent, though. Like the traits are there with Larry Worth III. Also, one thing that I've heard you mention, and I tend to agree with you, but he grew on me, Nick Martin. So I got a problem with Nick Martin. I don't think that he has a lot of mass. I believe that he's strong. I think that he's fast. I think that he's instinctual. But the missed tackles at times. And you say to yourself, why are you moving this fast? Why do you have to deliver a blow? Why can't you break down and simply tackle a guy? And sometimes you may think, well, it may have something to do with his 220-pound frame, where even though the kid brings a lot in athleticism, he don't bring a lot in the ass. All right. And sometimes you got to be able to deliver a blow.
He might be a specialty player. He might be more of a, this is Raheem's charge, is get the most out of Duggar, out of Worth, out of Martin. They're great athletes, but you're right. There's some inconsistency in his game. He doesn't have he's all gas, no brakes, but he overruns plays, and then there's times in coverage he looks kind of raw. But I'll tell you, man, who runs and hits like that? I mean, if they cut this guy,
it's hard to find.
It would be criminal if they cut this guy. I mean, Tatum Bethune. How about Tatum Bethune? He just that's my guy too. Tatum Bethune is a terrific guy, and he just keeps getting better and better. And it's like he's got 2 modes. If he's healthy, he's really good, and if he's not healthy, then it's like he still was going to run around out there and try, and he doesn't make any plays. But tonight he's fresh, he's rested. 6 tackles, 3 solo, 2 TFLs, almost had a pick, dropped it. I mean, he's they've got some guys here look at the youth here. Stroman, Bethune, Nick Martin, Prysock made plays, Jacob Robinson made plays, Jaden Duggar made plays, Jack Jones, the veteran, made plays, Bryson Eason, Romello Height were heard from. So, I mean, there was a lot of young guys. I mean,
even on the offensive side tonight, you saw Stribling and, of course, and then Watkins and Cowing. And I pointed out earlier about Braden Willis in the backfield. It's nice to see those guys actually start to contribute, because I believe for the Niners to be successful this year, they're going to need a lot from the guys we just talked about, because there's going to be injuries. And when those injuries hit, you got a lot of older vets, and they're going to miss games, and you're going to need guys to step up and not miss much as far as production. So for these guys to be able to perform it is preseason, but to them, these guys that are trying to make the club and do well, it's not preseason to them. It's their
Hell no.
life.
Well, and then if the question is it, is the question was, is it a Charger, bigger story, Chargers loss or Niner win? Well, I would say it's a much bigger story that the Niners won just simply because of the spread. I mean, last week the spread was 6 and they won by 6. So these guys are usually right on it, right? Because Vegas knows. Vegas had this as Chargers -1 and the Niners boat raced them. It was 41-17. And that was with some giveaway, scores. So it really even wasn't as close as Chargers really didn't put up 17. I mean, it was like the Niners kind of handed them some of that. So, I mean, I think the bigger story here is how well the 49ers played. And you know what? I did this exercise, and I brought it up with Coach a couple weeks ago. And we used to do this exercise with the Cardinals where we would, after OTAs, we would look at, which was called minicamp at the time. We would look at everybody on the team in the 90-man camp roster and just say, is the arrow pointing up? Is the arrow pointing down? Or are they just kind of, right in the middle? And we would group the entire roster. And I did that. And we would usually get like 48 to 52% of the players were getting better. That was probably the highest. The Niners had 63%. I did this exercise. 63%, I felt like, of their camp roster had the arrow pointing up. The arrow pointing down was like 10 guys. Unfortunately, 9 of them are starters, right? Trent, Kittle, Bosa, CMC. I mean, Juice. I have, the Mike Evans, arrow pointing down on every single one of those guys. And there's 10 of them. So the question, though, is where do the Niners fit? It's like a mutual fund. If you got this dragging you down a little bit, but you got this kind of pushing you up, how high can their young players push them? We know their great older players are older and are going to get a little worse. And just I think Danny's right. Depending on how it's not anymore about Evans and the star CMC and Bosa and, Warner. It's really about, do you have really capable guys around them? How good is your core without one or two of those guys? Because it's football and they're older and they're probably going to get hurt. So I think tonight was a great step in that direction. A lot of people thought the Chargers, were, physically going to manhandle them, and they, had the advantage in the practice. And it's like, oh yeah, watch out. I had people going, oh man, Thursday night could be massacre. Why? Because the Chargers, made some plays in the red zone on a day in El Segundo. You got to be kidding me. So I don't know. I think people overreacted to that practice. I think there's an intensity about the Niner coverage that's awesome, but it's also like we must, everything must be meaningful, and everything's not meaningful. It's just another day at camp. So anyway, give me your guys' thoughts on your biggest positive from the night. There were so many great things. What stands out as your number one positive? Red, what's your number one positive tonight?
Well, the number one thing for me, I'm not at practice, so I don't get a chance to see these guys up close and personal, but the narrative was the Chargers beat the crap out of the 49ers, and I saw an offensive line. I don't even know all their names, but I saw them individually as a unit taking on the physical altercation with the Chargers. And I saw guys get to the second level also blocking. So, when you couple that with the fact that the Niners ran the football well, I think that's where they need to take the leap. They need to become a more physical football team. And for whatever reason tonight, they were doing that. So of all of the positives tonight, I thought the offensive line play collectively and the physicality is what impressed me the most.
Yeah, the two stats that stand out to me that I love the most from this box score: 0 sacks for the Chargers, only 2 quarterback hits for the Chargers all night. And if you're a football coach, if I take you into any game and I'll say, hey man, you're going to get, your quarterback's never going to get sacked and your quarterback's only going to get hit twice all day, he'd be like, hell yes, I'll take that every day, all day. And against a good Charger team, I mean, granted, they didn't have their, I don't remember seeing Khalil Mack running around out there and he's on their team. And, but still, either way, I mean, there's guys out for both teams. It was a good performance. Danny, go ahead. What's your biggest positive of the game to you?
Yeah, I think just watching, I was really wanting to see how the offense performed tonight, the first half, and seeing Purdy go 4 for 6, looked good on his passes. The one run where he scrambled, they commented about his turf toe on the broadcast. Looks like he's fully healed, which we all know, but that's good to see. And then Mac Jones, although he was only 6 for 13, 89 yards, 2 drop passes, one beautiful pass to Stribling and the other one to Watkins at the goal line. Hey, that happens, the drops, but you're happy to see Mac Jones put the ball right where it needed to be.
He was sharp. He was very sharp.
Yeah.
How about the one in the middle of the field where he just absolutely lasered it in there?
And he dropped it.
Yeah,
Jordan Watkins.
The one that he completed. Is it Stribling down the middle?
Yeah, Stribling down the middle, I believe it was.
But
awesome.
Let me see if I can
but yeah, just seeing Black, just watching him. He, what I love about Black, we've seen the 49er running backs that they've tried and drafted that run straight up through the hole. This guy gets low. He moves the guys backwards. He doesn't stand straight up and fall backwards. He delivers blows. He falls forward. Knows how to read the holes. That was really nice. And then I'm still impressed. I know I talked about it with you before the show, but
this is the play I think we're talking about. This is the Mac Jones play. Watch him rip this right in the middle of the field, guys. Can you guys see this? Here we go.
Yeah.
It was the Dukes, 3rd and 6. Chargers bring 4. Jones steps out in the tight window. Guess who? Stribling with another catch and a big gain across the 35. R.J. Mickens finally halts him, but a 22 right.
What's awesome about this play to me is just the body positioning of Stribling at the catch point. Watch this. We just go slow here. Look at and this is the Niners have not had this for a couple years now. Look at the body positioning. He's not coming back to the quarterback. He's going down the field trying to score. Look at that. Mm-hmm. He's right between the two guys. But
love it.
It's like he's going down the field, not towards the sideline. So much of JJ stuff is going towards the sideline. This guy's going down the field. And I mentioned to a couple guys, this is the first guy I've noticed his number as a Niner receiver in a while, because the Niner receivers have been doing so many comeback routes. But Jerry, if you think of Jerry, you think of Flash 80, you think of the back of his jersey.
Yeah.
You think of Owens, you think of the back of his jersey. It's so nice to have a receiver.
It is, Larry. And as I watch
him running away,
I watched this kid play. It feels like I'm watching the semifinals of the college football playoff last year. That game he had against, was it Georgia?
Yeah.
The
over
guy
100 yards.
Yeah.
And you know what? I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about it. I'm not a Trinidad Chambliss guy. I think Stribling made Chambliss. Chambliss is right now considered really hot. He's going to be a fantastic player this year, and a lot of people think he might go high in the draft. He's a shorter player. I thought he threw some balls that just kind of floated, and this guy went up, and a crowd just freaking took it away, and I didn't realize how strong he was. Coach, what's your biggest positive from the night tonight? There were several, but what jumps out the most to you?
I think the biggest thing for me would have to be the secondary. You look at what went down with the defense, and about 4 of the top 10 guys that had of the top defensive performers today were DBs. You had Jalen Stroman with 5 total tackles and 4 solo. You also had Ephesians Prysock with 4 total tackles. Also Renardo Green with 2, and then Jacob Robinson, if we don't remember, he flashed on a beautiful play in the backfield, and then also had an awesome would-be pick that he dropped in the flat later in the game. I mean, I think the DBs were just really responsive today. They took a really big beating over the week with joint practices with the Chargers. And to be honest with you, they've been kind of the redheaded stepchild of this defense for a while. They've been getting beat on, and today was a good step in the right direction for them. If you look at exactly what the Chargers did through the air, it was anemic, downright pedestrian at times. Trey Lance didn't do much, even though he's efficient. What you have to see from DJ Uungleye, he was 7 for 15 for 80 yards, averaging only 5.3 yards per reception. Even with Trey Lance throwing the ball 16 times, he only averaged 4.6 yards an attempt. The receiving that you saw from the Chargers, you had 18 receptions for 162 yards and 9.9 yards per average and only one touchdown through the air. I think that the defense also married with the back end. So there are a lot of coverage. There were a lot of coverage pass breakups where you saw not Keenan, but what's my boy's name from Tennessee? UDFA, not James Thompson Jr.
Bryson Eason.
Bryson Eason. Yeah. So one thing that I have to say is that Bryson Eason has to make this team.
He's 320 pounds and he's fast.
He has to make this team.
If that guy doesn't make the team, man,
yeah.
They got real problems.
I want to segue my favorite things about the team to something that I am kind of worried about, which is it's a good problem to have.
Okay.
But the young guys, the young guys on the defensive line, particularly in the interior, they're kind of showing up the older guys. Like, hey, James Thompson, I got to tell you what I see. James Thompson Jr. got penetration, was disruptive tonight. Yeah. So was Bryson Eason. And then right when you think that, okay, maybe it's just two guys, Sebastian Valdez is giving you great work. All right. We have not. Alfred Collins, I did this during my live watch show party, guys. I purposely did not say anything until I could find his name. Ofer, no stats, nowhere to be found. Nothing there for Alfred Collins. Now, am I here to say that I watched the tape and he definitely stuck out as a sore thumb? No. We could watch the tape and he could definitely be in a position where, look, you get a game where you have an overall defensive performance. There's a lot of times where some guys eat, some guys were in support. So if you go back and look at the film, there may be a lot of things that may not have shown up in the stat line where Alfred Collins was in the right place. So I don't want to say he didn't do anything, but I didn't see anything. He didn't really make an impression on himself. I don't know what's going on with CJ West. And if you start looking at the Niners, they're only going to keep 5 defensive tackles. And I'm already looking at 4 of them that have to make this team. Osia Odigizua, Grayson Holton, Bryson Eason, and James Thompson Jr. And I'm really looking at Sebastian Valdez. That leaves out Alfred Collins and CJ West. So I'm trying to figure out what these two guys that really haven't done anything this year. And then if you look at the track, Larry, and I'll let you guys take it because I feel like I'm talking too much, but if you look at the track, they were brought in here under Saleh. They were brought in here under a completely different defense. They're in under a new guy right now. And you have to ask yourself, if these guys are getting so much time on task, the other guys, then where is the fit for Alfred Collins and CJ West moving forward? Because right now, these guys are playing their way on the roster. We're not going to be able to stash Bryson Eason and James Thompson Jr. They will get picked up. You know that.
And they're damn good. They're not.
They're damn exactly.
They're damn good.
So you guys take it.
Yeah, a couple.
Larry, I got a question for you because I was watching the.
Wait, before we hold that for a second, because I'm going to forget Coach's question. I'm that short-minded. They've got to find a way to get those young defensive linemen on there. They also picked up, to Coach's point, they also just reacquired Evan Anderson. And I'm looking at that going, wait a second, why? Why would you reacquire Evan Anderson? You got all
I don't get it.
Guys. And I think if I'm reading the tea leaves, and this is just guess, I don't know. I have no sources. I'm not trying to be like, I'm Jay Glazer, and I was talking to somebody the other day before my MMA fighting class. Now, I'm just saying that it looks like their typical trade patterns is that you establish a surplus and trade off your surplus. And reacquiring Evan Anderson and with these other young players there, I just kind of feel like they're stacking up their inventory because they're getting ready to move Collins or West. Now, we talked about this. I talked about this about a month ago. When Raheem Morris came in, he had a say in the draft, but he didn't have final say. It wasn't like Raheem was just like, I want this guy, that guy, this guy, that guy. He was part of a group project. The free agency, same thing, part of a group project. He had a say, I want this guy, I want that guy, but It's part of a group project. He entered the organization, and there's personnel people and all this stuff and going on. But eventually, he's going to have to. His feet are going to be held to the fire on how the defense plays, and we're at that point in the calendar where it's like you pass the baton from the personnel department to Raheem. Now it's on you to make sure that we're good enough to win the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? And that's really the standard here, and he knows it. So I said this to Coach, and I've talked about this a few times. I think we're headed towards an abrupt moment here right before, and it could happen any day, really any day now, where, as Coach just referenced, it's almost kind of like political regimes. It's like, you know what? I worked for a radio station, and the guy came from another radio station, and literally within like 6 months, he had fired like 4 different people and brought in people from his old radio station. And they were all from his old radio station. And people hire their friends, people hire people they like. I just think that, Raheem Morris didn't draft CJ West, and he didn't draft Alfred Collins, and he didn't draft Nick Martin, and he didn't draft a lot of these guys that he inherited. And he's got one scheme, and it's like a 5-man front deal. Everybody's got to rush the passer. You got to be able to rush the passer even on the inside. Collins doesn't rush the passer. West isn't much of a pass rusher. So I think we're headed towards, where they target somebody else who doesn't fit. The guy that I mentioned was Oluwafemi Oladejo. People are like, oh, no, Saleh loves him and Tennessee loves him. That's possible, but he was drafted under a 3-4 scheme as an outside backer, and they're now running a 4-3, and he's not starting. And maybe he would take Alfred Collins and CJ West for Oladejo or something.
He handpicked him.
Nick Martin and one of those guys, so who knows? But I'm just saying, I do think you're right. Alfred Collins and CJ West need to get back to practice on the field and do something in this last preseason game. Otherwise, Thompson and Eason, and we didn't even mention Grayson Halton because he wouldn't play tonight.
He didn't even play.
He's probably the best of the 3. He's an incredible pass rusher. Very impressive guy. So they've added 3 big-time guys, and, you only go with 5, and you traded for Osa Odigizua, who looks awesome. So one of those guys, West or Collins, I think gets traded. Will they get traded for a pick or a player? We'll see. But we're headed towards an abrupt, like, all right, now Raheem's like, you know what? I don't want that guy, and they're going to do something about it. They're going to listen to him because it's his show. At the end of the day, it's his show. All right.
What you guys think about Victor Dumikeji?
He got a sack, or was he a pressure maybe, or was it a sack? No, he didn't get a sack, but would he bat down a pass? Is that what he did? I had him.
Yeah, I think he was really good in the run game.
Yeah, I got to see more. I'll say this: he's very
took the
athletic.
Chargers all day to get the edge. You guys notice that? It took them forever to get they could not run on us on the edge.
No, I mean Nick Martin, Stroman, the DBs were really active. Bethune, you're right. I mean the 49er, defense pretty much controlled, and it's not like Hampton didn't play, Mitchell didn't play. They both played, but the Chargers didn't have any success running the ball. So that was a good sign. It was a good night for the 49ers. It was an impressive win against a really good Charger team. And now it's a preseason game, so it's like you can't say that the practices mean nothing and then the practice game means everything. But the game tends to mean more than the practices, I think, as far as not the score, but how they looked. I just thought the Chargers tonight, I was looking at the penalties, and the penalties were relatively even. But didn't it seem like the Charger penalties were more punitive or worse timed? It seemed like every time they did something okay in the first half, it was called back with a penalty. And Harbaugh looked incredibly frustrated by kind of how inefficient his team was looking.
Yeah,
the spacing was way off on offense. I think they had at least 5 illegal formations today.
Yeah, quite a bit. Yeah. One of the questions I have for you, Larry, because you're at the practices, and I know Kyle values blocking so much out of his receivers and tight ends. That's almost more important than them catching it, it seems like. What's going on with the kid out of Wisconsin. He played with Miami. Hayden Rucci, I believe is how you say it. Is he got a chance to unseat Farrell as the blocking tight end?
I don't think so.
No,
no, I think, but he's, I'll say this: he's not the worst tight end I've ever seen or anything. He's got some solid traits, decent athlete, pretty strong, pretty athletic. But no, Farrell's had a much better camp.
Okay. The reason I asked that is on
Farrell's
that one
been
big
very improved this camp.
Reason I had asked was the one big run that
Sincere
McCormick, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
McCormick ran. If you look at the play, not only was Willis made two great blocks, but Rucci did, and Watkins. And Watkins, I've got the play up there if you wanted to run it.
Yeah, hey, by the way, we're going to run this play. I'm going to show this play. Coach, why? I thought Danny's making a good point. Braden Willis, I've never been a fan of, and I really don't like him as a tight end. But you know what? He's growing on me as a blocker and as like kind of a, I don't want to say Delaney Walker, but he's getting more physical, and I like him as a blocker.
He's quick.
He's quick. He's athletic. He's smart. He knows what he's doing now. He knows the offense. Danny, can you make that a little bigger?
There you go.
Here we go. Look at this. Look at this block by Willis. Two
blocks.
He's lined up in the backfield. This is really 12 personnel, right? Because there's two tight ends here, but it's really
watch Watkins also Willis, on the outside.
Willis playing the fullback in like your I formation, 22 personnel, quarterback under center. All right, roll the tape.
Oh, hold on here. Here we go.
Later that same night.
Okay. Nice. That's a long time coming for him because that was a weakness for him coming in to the Niners.
Watch the second angle. They show it. They'll
show and catch Watkins on the outside too.
Yeah, the second angle I think is the one where you really see Willis combo block the guy. Here he is in motion. Boom, bang, bang, and he runs right off his inside hip. I'll tell you, McCormick is nice. He's got good body lean. He's got power. He had a couple good games with the Raiders, right before the Niners picked him up. I talked to him a few times at his locker. Great kid, tough. He runs. He doesn't give you a big target. He doesn't run upright like Patrick Taylor. He runs with great body lean, and he's quick, and he's a veteran back. He knows how to hit the hole. He knows how to read the blocks. I thought he did a great job for himself. I thought him and Herbert both had who do you think was better between McCormick and Herbert?
I thought McCormick was a little better.
Frank, what do you think, Frank?
I mean, I was more excited by McCormick because I wasn't that familiar with him. And then they talked about his narrative. I love his story. I mean, this guy's been on 4 practice squads.
Yeah.
And finally, to get an opportunity to prove that he not only is an NFL player, but he can actually have a home. I was impressed with his narrative, and to see him jump off tonight was pretty impressive with me.
Real serious kid too, very humble. Yeah, what do you like? I mean, Herbert's got more of an NFL resume, Coach, but McCormick does look like he just looks really good in this offense.
He's explosive. I like he's very slow to fast through. That's what I love about him.
Yeah.
He has a lot of good patience, really good contact balance where you do see him get touched a little bit coming out of the backfield, but because he's got such a good low center of gravity, those things just really kind of fall off of him. Don't look now, but you don't really see it in his game, but this is a 4.6 running back. Okay. Yeah. That's what you're looking at. Okay. Right. So he's not a blazer. And when you see that explosiveness in a short area, that's the juice. That's what you get out of Sincere McCormick, where you need somebody who's not going to be able to take the top off of defense or necessarily scare anybody, but he knows how to fundamentally run the ball. And I saw that in the Titans game, where even though the offensive line was not really cohesive and we didn't really have a good day up front, Sincere McCormick still made the best out of what the offensive line gave him. And it takes a savvy back to be able to know how to run, So I'm an offensive lineman, and running back is my favorite position because I know what they got to do to make us look good. So Sincere McCormick, he's a little bit of an artist, if you will, with how he runs. I love his running style.
Freddie Mac says, I got in a car accident today. I walked away. My Denali is totaled. Can you get me a deal on a new Chevy? What rookie impressed you tonight? I can get
I
you.
love a super chat.
Exactly. I got Bob with the 4 white walls on 7. Now, yes.
Glad you walked away.
Go into Novato Chevrolet, ask for Adam Rogers, tell him I sent you, and tell him you need the super special Krug Show deal, and then just kind of go like this, and then wait for his comment. No, but he'll absolutely. I mean, it's a fantastic family-owned dealership. Check them out, NovatoChevrolet.com. Put your information in there. Say you know me, and Adam will call you tomorrow. Take it from there. As far as what rookie impressed me, a number of them did. I mean, a number of them did. I guess the first one would be Stribling on that first drive. He had 3 catches. He looks like he could be the Niners, new dominating receiver. I mean, a lot of people were saying that was a reach. He looks fantastic.
He's a football player.
Oh, but you know what? I love these Ole Miss guys too, because when you get the Ole Miss guys, you wind up getting better athletes. There's a lot of great athletes at Mississippi State, at Ole Miss. They have premier guys. And, think of Ole Miss, A.J. Brown, and all the different guys they've developed. Jordan Watkins, who ran 4.3 the year prior. I mean, they just have a lot of guys, and they're real athletes. And sometimes you draft guys, and then you get them into camp, and you're like, God, this guy looks pretty muted compared to what I thought he was.
Well, what I meant by football player is, same knock that was on Jerry Rice. They say, oh, he's not fast enough, or he doesn't have the intangibles, this and this. His combine wasn't as good as these other receivers. But you get them on the football field, these guys get open, they catch, and they run. And they know how to do it better than a lot of other guys that get drafted in front of them. It's just I remember when Jerry Rice was, he doesn't have breakaway speed. Yeah, he's just running past everybody constantly.
Yeah. I mean, I thought Pricesock looked good tonight, to be honest. I thought, he's a big rangy corner.
I love his range, his long arms.
And he's just very natural. He does some things really, really naturally. Thoughts of an Uber driver. How big of a deal is it to retool a few of these guys to play the edge? Sebastian Valdez, Bethune, Martin. I don't think Bethune can do it because I think he's more of a off-the-ball linebacker. But I've suggested Valdez because Valdez reminds me a little bit of a kind of a bulked up version of Bosa. He's not nearly as as athletic as Bosa, but he's got a great motor. He's got great technique. I like that idea. Maybe in some bigger lines, but play him as a rusher. And Martin's interesting. I don't know if I play him as a defensive end full time, but I think you could see him walking up on the line of scrimmage and being that, giving them. You're flashing like a 4-3 wide 9 look, and then all of a sudden he walks up on the line of scrimmage, and you're now playing kind of a 5-2, and he's like a defensive end. Yeah, I think one of his best things at Oak State was hunting quarterbacks. So I'd love to see him in that role.
I'll tell you a guy that's going to surprise. I think one of the Niners' weaknesses is in the middle of the field, the secondary, the deep secondary, the safety coverage. I think Ashton Davis is going to make a run in the season to have some playing time. Because
what do you guys think of him tonight, though?
I love his hitting, and he's just he's an instinctive football player. He's around the ball more. He's not as fast as some of the other guys, but I'm not so sure Jair Brown is the guy, especially in coverage. He's going to get beat over the top a lot, and I think they need a veteran safety that's going to be a little bit more just of a ball hawk that knows how to be there. Just don't get beat. Not constantly getting.
It's funny. The Seahawks unfortunately drafted the safety that I thought the Niners would have really needed. That's that Bud Clark kid out of TCU. He's just a great coverage player. It's almost like a big corner, and they drafted him. He's having a great preseason. The Niners do need a better coverage player. I mean, I thought during the joint practices, the speed of Brendan Thompson really bothered them. But they were effective tonight. I thought Luter made plays. Robinson made plays. I mean, they have some talent at corner for sure, and they've got some depth there. It's tough to say. It's like that. To me, that's going to be one of the real competitive spots is like who gets that? How many corners do you go with? And who gets cut? Because, I mean,
I would love to see them.
Jack Jones. And you're going to cut Jacob Robinson after what you saw tonight? But then Darrell Luter also made a couple nice plays. So I
just think they need, a Jimmy Ward type player in the secondary that can run things.
Well, you don't find those everywhere.
No, but they gotta go. They've got assets. They can go make trades, whatever they got to do. They got to go find somebody. I'm not saying that obviously not Jimmy Ward, but somebody that is a veteran that's still in their prime that can
hit a little bit.
Yeah. I'm old enough to remember. This is how the football gods work. I'm old enough to remember when our defense was so loaded that Jimmy Ward used to go on X and have to put out his own practice film of him shutting down every tight end that they faced throughout the season. Remember those days? Where Jimmy Ward would have to promote himself and say, look at me shutting down every tight end.
Well, they drafted him high. He had the foot problem. Then they kind of moved on without him. Then he kind of resurfaced.
He finally got healthy in that
I always loved him. I loved him, man.
Yeah.
I loved him too.
He told me one time at his locker, he's like, man, I go, Jimmy, you play for keeps. I love that. And he's like, yeah. He's like, sometimes if you hit a guy in his patella, he doesn't respond well. I was like, yeah. I mean, the way he said it was like, dude, you're diabolical, bro.
Hey, did you catch the? I don't know if you caught the touchdown, the comments by Dan Fouts when Cowing ran the punt return back. He wanted to keep saying that was a block in the back by Braden Willis. But Willis did not. He went like this. I got the highlight if you want to look at it, Larry.
Yeah, no, I saw it. It was right there for everybody to see.
And Dan Fouts is going on and on. Oh, that was a block in the back.
It's the Charger broadcast.
Yeah,
right? The Charger broadcast.
Oh,
he knows. You got to know your audience. Mike Bike Punk 19 30 joules. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. We have this one from Michael. He says 49ers too deep at linebacker. Have to keep Garrett Wallow. Maybe shop Bethune for O-line depth or another edge.
Hell no.
He says 49ers too deep at linebacker. Have to keep Garrett Wallow. Maybe shop Bethune for O-line depth or another edge.
Hell no.
He says 49ers too deep at linebacker. Have to keep Garrett Wallow. Maybe shop Bethune for O-line depth or another edge.
Hell no.
He says 49ers too deep at linebacker. Have to keep Garrett Wallow. Maybe shop Bethune for O-line depth or another edge.
Hell no.
He says 49ers too deep. I had to mute Coach. What is going on there?
What was that? It was like repeating.
Coach, we're getting my soundbite or my last line just repeated back over and over and over and over. I don't know what happened there.
Great to hear you though, Larry, 4 times.
I mean, we'll unmute him. He's back. All right. You can't shop Tatum Bethune. I mean,
no, you can't shop Tatum Bethune.
And O-line depth. I mean, they have depth on the O-line. If anything, they need an established. I mean, okay, right now, why don't we do this? We'll go around the room. If you could add one piece to the Niners, realistic, not I'm taking Max Crosby. I mean, it's like yes, we'd all like to have Max Crosby. Outside of Max Crosby or something that's totally unrealistic, give me somebody you want to add to the Niners based on what you've seen tonight and that you think could get them over the top. What do they need based on what you saw tonight?
I would love to see them get a tight end. George is obviously somebody who I have a lot of confidence in, but I was looking for some of those guys to flash. I've been waiting for Tongas to flash. I know he's a kind of a pass-catching tight end. He's not much of a blocker. But I think part of their offense, when it's working well, it's a tight end extending the offense, getting down the field. And without George, I don't know if they have that guy. So I would love to see them have a tight end who could stretch the defense a little bit and become a real player in the middle of the field. So that would be my suggestion.
I kind of like that as well. The flexed tight end who's another receiver. Another receiver, not necessarily. You don't have to be the dominant blocker. Heck, if you were both, that'd be incredible. But I can't imagine that guy's out there. But you never know. I mean, the Chargers have David Njoku as like their third tight end. I mean, that's unbelievable depth at that position. But I do think guys like Cole Kmet, Payne Durham from Tampa, Dawson Knox from Buffalo. These are guys that potentially they're saying, at least what I'm reading, that they're potential cut candidates August 30th. That's only 9 days from now. So I don't know. I do like those guys a whole lot more than I like their backup guys. But I got to be honest, I thought Danny made the point about Braden Willis. I did think Braden Willis, he has had a good camp, and I don't like him as a tight end. But, if you want to use him as kind of like a fullback combo guy.
Well, this has to be Juice's last year, right? It has to be.
I would think so. So.
How long I thought he was done with the Niners a year or two ago. They keep re-signing him.
More, and then you guys, I'll go around the room because I definitely want to hear who you guys want to add. Jones, G.I. Jones says 10 joules. Thank you. We have this one from Scott. Black is an anvil with rockets. Could his punishing run style be used as a 1-2 punch with CMC, or will CMC demand to be number one and only? Oh, no. CMC at this point CMC wants the ring, man. CMC's very competitive. He wants that ring. So this is the guy that helps them get through the regular season, and potentially, it's the NFL. You need 2 or 3 good backs. Mm-hmm. I think if the most exciting thing of the night to me that I wasn't expecting to see is that it gets a pretty good Charger team, not the best defense ever, but a pretty good Charger team. By all accounts, the Niners ran the ball, and there was a couple drives there where he kind of leaned on, Carver Willis and Cruz, and we're like, hey, there you go, and they scored a touchdown, and they pushed the Chargers around, and they ran the ball effectively with Sincere McCormick and Khalil Herbert, and Kalen Black, and it was great to see because, can Brock Purdy win the Super Bowl? I'd say, well, you know what? Can Jalen Hurts win the Super Bowl? Brock Purdy could win the Super Bowl if he was given the team that Jalen Hurts had a couple of years ago, where he had a killer defense and they ran the ball. Yeah, Brock Purdy's out there trying to, spin 9 different records on his fingers, make it all happen at once. If they could run the ball, and he's looking at second and short, not second and long, and he's got options and mobility, and hell yes, they can win with him, but he can't carry them. He's not Josh Allen. He can't be like, come aboard. I actually think both these quarterbacks tonight can win the Super Bowl. In fact, I'll just give you my final 4 right now. I like the Bucks and the Niners in the NFC, and I like the Bengals and the Chargers in the AFC. So that's my final 4. Coach, give me a guy that you want to add to the Niners.
Man.
Over the top.
If we had to go a position, we need safety. Malik Mustafa, nowhere to be found. I love Jair Brown, but I don't feel comfortable riding out the season with Jair Brown being our number 1 guy there. And then Marquise Siegel, God love him, but the consistency, you need to see more of it. So that leaves us really with Ashton Davis, who I kind of look at as a little bit of like a Jason Pinnock type, a little older guy who can, if things really get off the rails, we can at least put somebody out there who knows the deer paths. They know the right angles. So I understand why the Niners do it. And to be honest with you, they really haven't taken the safety position seriously since we've lost Tart and Jimmy Ward. We've kind of just had a revolving door. Tashawn Gibson was a Band-Aid for a while. So
our GM is John Lynch. Isn't that amazing that John Lynch, as the general manager, we don't have an awesome eye for safeties in the draft?
That's where I'm going with. Same with Coach, but I've got a guy that I think is gettable.
So I think
hear what he's got.
Let him finish up his thought, and then
So DeMar Hamlin is out there. I think DeMar Hamlin is gettable. Somebody who's a little bit older. We know Jesse Bates III is out there, but also Rayshawn Jenkins is out there as well. That's somebody who I think can help us out. So, I want to be realistic. I don't want to go out there and start, maybe a Jabril Peppers is somebody who can help us out. But it's going to be a veteran. It's not going to be pretty, right? It's going to have a couple of dings and dents on it when we get it. So it's not going to be brand new. But my biggest problem right now is that we're past the stage of getting somebody who's just a great starter. We need somebody back there who's competent. Like we're getting to that point where we need somebody back there who actually knows the job.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to know who's going to be out there. I'll give you one name that I think makes sense, even though it's not a sexy name or a big star, but Jamie Robinson, who played at Florida State. Raheem Morris signed him in with the Falcons last year to the practice squad in the middle of the year. And then late in the year, when they finished the year on a 5-game winning streak, he promoted him to the active roster. And I think he's likely to get most likely cut because they do have a lot of safeties in Atlanta. So I could see if he gets cut at the cut down, the Niners grabbing him because Raheem liked him and feels like he fits his scheme and promoted him a couple times. So we'll see. He was a captain at Florida State. He's a borderline NFL player. But I think he could be available at the cut down. Let me hit a couple more of these. I don't want to fall behind on these because we do have 30 supers here. Okay. We got this one. Here we go. We got thoughts of an Uber driver. Larry, did you see anything tonight that might affect the starting lineup? Did any depth players change your mind for better or for worse? Yeah, I'll tell you one guy that really stood out to me, and I'll have to watch it again later tonight, is that the veteran guard that they brought in from Illinois, Doug Kramer, played at Illinois. This guy had one of the fastest 40 times, and he's kind of a brawler. He's kind of a tough ass, and he's 300 pounds, and man, he stepped in there and had a couple of just devastating blocks. And I don't know where he sits in their pecking order because they got a lot of bodies inside. Nick Sakel, Drake Nugent, Carver Willis, Connor Colby. I mean, they got a bunch of dudes. But this guy really looks like something to me. First of all, he's an NFL veteran. He's been in the league. He came into the league with the Bears. I really like what I'm seeing out of this guy. This guy's reputation is that he's very fast and really, really nasty. And I love Illinois as a school for coaching offensive linemen. I think they coach him up really well in the Big Ten normally, but really well at Illinois. And I like this guy. He's strong. He's functionally strong. I see him at practice, talking to the coaches, trying to get better, trying to learn the scheme. So I'm eager to see. I would bet you $1 to a dime that when PFF comes out with their who did well offense, who did well defense, that kid, Doug Kramer, is going to be graded out really highly for how he played tonight. And people are going to be like, what? Doug Kramer? Really? He had that high of a grade, but I thought he had several monster plays inside. So I liked him. I think he's a guy that kind of put his name into the mix. And then, Cowing, I think also, I think Cowing was probably not going to make the team. But now with that kick return, Niners haven't had a kick return or a punt return touchdown since Ted Ginn. That was a long time ago, man.
2011, 12?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's 2011. Might even been before that. But Ted Ginn, the last time they had a punt return touchdown. So they're looking for some dynamic play there. I love the way that his teammates reacted to him. It kind of shows that they're kind of invested in his story. And I love that Jordan Watkins is coming of age too. I mean, it's funny. Sometimes we talked about this before as well. Sometimes rookies figure it out in the first year. Sometimes it takes the second year. And believe it or not, sometimes it takes the third year. Is it possible that the 49ers are going to have a receiver that fits all three of those? Stribling figures it out in year one. Watkin figures it out in year two. And if Cowing figures it out this year, this would be year three. But they could all figure it out in the same year, and suddenly the Niners could have a pretty dynamic receiving core that's vertical. They can get vertical. So I think we're seeing that. Let me hit one more of these. We got this one. We got this one from James, 67 Joules. Thank you, James. Appreciate you. Louis Aguirre. What's up, Larry? Watch the game with my pops, and now we're watching y'all from you're the only 49er commentator we both love. Couldn't be happier. Let's go Niners. All right. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. You guys are good guys. Thanks for watching the Krug Show. The Stevie says impossible to not be thrilled with Strib. Size and speed San Francisco hasn't had since T.O. Need Kalon Black to catch up in camp. Any updates on Green's hammy severity? No.
Yeah.
Do we have an update? I thought you just
No, I wanted to know about that. I also wanted to know about Austin Pleasance, if he was okay.
Yeah, I thought Pleasance really, it was baptism by fire. I thought he really struggled. Mike Ogre says, looks like they hit on 80% of their draft class. Smith, our Strib, Black, Duggar, Halton look like starters. Prysock and Willis, solid role players. The bummer is wasting a 5th-round pick on Cruz. He's overwhelmed. Yeah, Cruz is very raw. Cruz is very, very raw. It's going to be very difficult for Cruz to make the team. I mean, I agree. He's overwhelmed. Tommy says, I don't know about you guys, but this is the first time I felt like a giddy little kid watching Black and Strib, maybe more biased on liking Black because of his last name, LOL. Thoughts?
Tommy Black, yeah.
Tommy Black. Yeah, I mean, they're not just going to make the team, they're going to be significant contributors.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and when you have guys like that who are significant contributors, you know, these guys are going to be. It's funny. People are like, Jordan James can be RB2. I'm like, what? No, no, I don't think so. They're going to be real significant contributors. It wouldn't shock me if Stribling was their leading receiver. I just think he's that dynamic. Dead_man_sleaze, which is a beautiful handle. I guess I better get a chat in. Sup MFs. We saw a lot tonight across the board. Hard to decipher all that in one conversation, and I love that. Yeah, no, I mean, it's given us enough to chew on. We'll probably be talking about this game for the next 4 or 5 days. A lot of this is a great day for the 49ers. Why? Because a lot of their draft picks that we've been kind of like, well, what about this guy? What about that guy? Tonight in an NFL game, we actually saw them play and produce, and without lots of their stars and regulars, they looked really good against a very good team on the road. So it was good to see. It was a very good night. Mike G, 2 jewels. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate you, bro. We have this one from Sunday Living. First thing to be stoked about so far this season. It's got Coach doing his best Ric Flair impression. Yes, that was very high energy coming out. Go 49ers, all the jewels for Larry, and shout out to the love of my life, Katie Ferguson. Look at that. I'm now like an FM DJ.
Shouts out to you, Katie Ferguson.
Katie Ferguson. I'm Casey Kasem. And Katie Ferguson is a hell of a young lady. She's a lucky one to know Sunday_living. Oh, my gosh. Okay, a couple more, and then we'll get back to a couple more topics before we jet. Nick says 250 jewels. Thank you. My goodness. It's a lot of jewels. Niner forever. So which receiver is getting cut? Yeah, there you go. What do you guys think, Frank? There's a bunch of receivers in this camp, that's for sure.
Well, I like what you said about Kirk. I think he'll have an NFL job somewhere. I mean, he's a proven veteran, but I don't know if he sticks with the 49ers. So he would be a guy I'll keep my eye on.
He was a great addition if these guys didn't step up, but now that they have, he's superfluous. And I would call Houston right now and figure out, does Houston have a player the 49ers would want? Because they lost Jaden Higgins. Jalen Noel has been hurt all summer, and they have a huge need. This kid just played well for them in the playoffs last year. You know, they're friends with D'Amico. I'd get on the horn with them and see if you could either pick a pick off from them or maybe a player on their team that you like that fits whatever needs you have. Niners forever. So which receiver? Okay, we got that one. We got this one, 6 jewels from Chili. Thank you, Chili. Scott, I saw much better tackling and speed tonight. A lot of backfield solo takedowns. Was that good SF or LA not blocking or running out of tackles? I think it's the 49ers accumulating a lot of athletes and athleticism on their defensive side. And I'm telling you, man, it kind of reminds me, I'm not going to get over my skis on this, But from a personnel standpoint, and we've all been watching sports, and it's the same in basketball, baseball, hockey. When you get a lot of guys who are talented at the same age all together, it's explosive because they're all getting better, right? And look at these teams like, the Houston Rockets are one of these teams in the NBA, or, you see some of these baseball teams and all of a sudden you look up and you're like, whoa, look at them. Look how many players they have in their prime. Well, the 49ers in the last 3 drafts, they haven't gotten a lot of bang for it, but they've invested in some players they really like across the board. Now you're starting to see why they like Nick Martin and why they, like Sebastian Valdez and why they like some of the players. They like Jacob, Jordan Watkins, and they like Jacob Cowing. There's upside to these guys. And if they could guys are on their own timetable. There's no rule that says you got to do it, your rookie year just because the team needs you. It could be that their guys are blossoming all kind of at the same time. And it could be a real explosive combination and could vault them to being one of the better teams in the conference. I think that's the hope, because they won't be able to be. I think we all know at this point, they're not going to be able to be carried to the finish line in today's NFL, just leaning on CMC, Mike Evans, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner.
Those days are over.
Yeah, those days are over. You get the rest of this team's going to have to grow up and contribute on a high level, or it's fool's gold to even talk for Super Bowl. Kenny Powers, 2 jewels. Thank you, Kenny. We got this one from Yo Stricken. As a Tucson, Arizona native, Cowing made me so proud tonight. Very cool. Very cool. Yo Stricken, thanks for hanging. This kid was good at UTEP. He was good at Arizona. He was the more productive guy one year when he played with Tetaroa McMillan, if you can believe it. Cowing outproduced McMillan one year. That's how good he is. And he's got speed and ball skills, but he's fragile. And I don't know, if he'd taken a monster hit on that return, he probably would have coughed it up. So it's a tough call. And they got a bunch of choices here, but I think he probably makes the roster on the strength of that. Niners forever. Guys' biggest positive was the return punt touchdown. Yeah. I mean, it was great to see. And I don't think it was a block in the back. Carson Taylor. I'm tired of the Niners sitting on their ass, make a competitive move. Zach Ertz, Jonnu Smith would take pressure off of George Kittle to come back. Willis is ass. I don't think that means he's good.
He's not the best tight end, but
I do agree with the assessment. You're not going to just kind of casually, win a Super Bowl. You're going to have to go after it. I don't know that you're going to win a Super Bowl while you're rolling over $72 million in available cap room. You might actually have to extend a little bit more than that. I kind of agree here with Carson Taylor. I think the Niners, I don't think that they won't. I think that they will, but I think they've kind of set themselves up for this kind of, are they going to do something dramatic at the end of the cut down? And I don't know if they'll do anything dramatic, but they're like, I've mentioned this to a guy that I know that knows Ertz and trains with Ertz just this week. I'm like, hey, why doesn't Ertz get with the mix here? Because, I mean, Ertz is a really good receiver and could give the 49ers, the way Purdy throws, he could give the Niners another real dangerous third down guy. 49ers run the ball well, and they have some third down guys that can convert, and it might be a real good season. All right, couple more, and then we'll hit a couple more topics. We got 440 jewels here from La Jolla Poppy. Thank you, La Jolla. We have this one from La Jolla Poppy, 67 jewels. La Jolla Poppy coming in, supporting the show, 30 jewels. And Loyola Poppy with 20 jewels there. We also have this one from, there we go. We got that. We got this one right here. No, that's not one. Okay. We have this one from Louise Gomes. Louise, yeah. Me and my pops are arguing who's going to have the most touchdowns for the 49ers this year. Evans or McCaffrey. If healthy, definitely Evans. My dad's wrong. What do you guys think? I mean, I think Evans is going to get the number one looks in the red zone, but how do you go against CMC? He can score every way imaginable. Who gets more touchdowns, guys? Evans or CMC?
CMC.
I'm gonna go with Evans.
Evans. Coach going CMC. Danny?
Yeah, I'm going CMC.
Well, if CMC can just run it in from the inside the 5, he'll get more opportunities, I think. CMC.
I'm going to go Stribling. My derp, I'm still concerned about the joint practice. Well, I mean, come on. If you don't put any pressure on Herbert and you don't set the edge in the run game, and running backs that get tagged off on in the backfield can still keep running, and you're going to go up against really fast receivers in open spaces on a fast surface, you're going to get burned, and they got burned. It was a bad matchup, and they don't have their pass rush. They're not going to win without pass rush, and you don't scheme up pass rush in practice. You don't.
It's just 4 words to that. I you know what really does bother me about the joint practice, fallout is we needed a look. We don't have a 4-2 on our team. We don't. All right. We don't.
I mean, as a corner.
Yeah. No, as a receiver. Yeah. Like we need a. Yeah. We're like we don't have that on our team.
I know. I would have loved them.
We've had an entire receiving core that's been in and out of camp. There's a byproduct of that, and that happens when you got a secondary who's learning a new defense, who thinks that they're hot shit. All right, who's got a corner in Diamondo Lenore where we're saying we're not even throwing towards his way, and Jair Brown is coming there throwing subliminals at all his past defensive coordinators because he's finally found the new system that he's in. They needed to be humbled. When you coach a kid up and you're trying to tell him, hey, kid, you got lazy eyes. I know that was a good play, but you're not sticking to the fundamentals. You're really not sticking to technique. And you can't, and it's all in the air and it's just conceptual. You need to burn his ass on tape to show him. You see what happens when you don't do what I tell you to do? And we don't have that on our team, and the Chargers did. The Chargers had a 4-2 on that team. They had a lot of good receivers that aired our secondary out, and that's what needed to happen. It was a wake-up call. It was much needed too. I'm glad it happened.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we all know defensive football is about closing space. If you watch that, the Niners couldn't close that space. There was just so much space there. Christopher says 10 joules. Thank you. Hiding. He says, Archer here, 5 joules. Thank you, Archer. Appreciate you. We have this one from Pick 44949. Hanging with you guys at nearly 3 a.m. from Maryland, Baltimore, Maryland as well. Loving the youth on this team. I know it does feel good to see some young players thrive. It really is. It was a fun game to watch. I am become Deaf Destroyer of Words. Thank you for the jewels. Also, we have this one from Archer, 440 joules. Thank you, Archer. Also, Tommy Black, tight end they could target within reason. I just said Cole Kmet, Payne Durham, those are the guys. But I would love to see them go after okay, this is a crazy idea. But when they tagged him, there was a lot of talk that they were going to tag and trade him. And that's Kyle Pitts in Atlanta. Atlanta is tanking the year for Arch. And there's no question about that. They're going to be bad. And I just think that Pitts is a star tight end that's coming into his own. If you want to counter, what Seattle's doing. What did Seattle do? They keep looking for greater players. Terrion Arnold, Trevon Diggs. John Schneider's not going to stop. He's going to keep looking for greater players. Les Snead, what is he looking for? Aaron Donald, Myles Garrett. He's looking for great players. If he can trade for another great player like Trent McDuffie, he's going to do it. They're looking for great players, difference makers. Well, what is Kyle Pitts? Kyle Pitts is 6'6", 240. He's coming into his own. He got kind of off to a slow start. He's now playing the best football of his career. He's a dominating tight end. I mean, that's the kind of move. Like you say, think of like, hey, what would Eddie D do? Eddie D they'd have 2 quarterbacks. They do, but they'd also would have 2 great playmakers. Just because they had Kittle, they would still, they had Eric Davis, but they still said, give us Dion. They had lots of good pass rushers and still signed more. So this team had Jim Burt, Fred Smerlis, and Michael Carter all on one team. I mean, the Niners used to stack guys before the pre-cap, and they could do it here. with Pitts, because Pitts, I think, is going to be available, and he's a difference maker, really a difference maker.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's the last one. Yeah, wait, is it? Yeah, that's the one. Okay, couple more thoughts before we get out of here. What do you think's the big story tomorrow about this game? When people are looking back at this game, everybody's looking at the stats, the highlights, the talk tomorrow. Who are they talking about at the water cooler tomorrow about this one tonight? Coach, we'll start with you.
The rookies. It was a youth movement the entire game on both sides of the ball. Soon as the drive started, we saw an entire drive with Kalen Black and Dejon Stribling basically taking us down the field on a 10-play drive to get us that first 3 points of the game. We saw, not only did we see rookies bounce, we saw rookies continue to impress us, but we saw guys bounce back. Ephesians Prysock bounce back from practice. That was a big one. We also saw the UDFAs on the interior. They did well. And then there's also a conversation about rookies as well. As you got to ask, where was Romello Height today? What did you get out of Romello Height, and were you pleased with what's happening with him? So I think it's all about the rookies. And the biggest part about why I believe that we blew them out was our depth. We won with depth today.
Yeah, no question. Frank, what's the big narrative coming out of this thing in your mind?
Well, selfishly, to me, it was Mac Jones affirming who he is, putting some respect on his name, throughout the week. I watch your stuff all the time, Larry. I mean, Curtis Rourke and what are we going to do with Mac Jones? We're going to keep him with this. I'm like, no. This is a guy who kept you in contention last year and ascended to levels where people were looking at him as a potential starter. So I was happy to see Mac Jones come out tonight and just throw some lasers. And again, send those vapors around the NFL to let people know that this dude can play some football. So I was happy to see that. Danny,
what's your what do you think's the big story here? And it doesn't have to be the big story. What do you think?
I think I'm with Coach in that the young guys, not just the rookies, but the backups, the guys that are fighting for positions, Cowing and Black tonight as a rookie, and Stribling, and then Watkins showing up also, not just receiving, but he had a great block on that big run we watched. So I think that was one of the areas I believe that why he wasn't getting on the field. Kyle does not play guys that don't block. Wide receivers, if you don't block, you don't play. And Watkins was out there, really going after the DB, completely turning him away from the ball, the carrier, and he didn't just block. He held his block. He just kept driving the guy, which was great. I think he's trying to make a point. Look, coach, it was right in front of him, I can block. And so that was pretty cool. And I think that'll be the story. I also have a couple of things when we get to it. I do have a couple of players I'd like to see the 49ers go after in trades.
I'd like to hear that. I'm gonna go with the Niner defensive line. We got one little glimpse from Romello, and I still think they need more edge. But it's NFL defensive tackles that can play, get paid a ton of cash, and they're really hard to come up with. And it looks like they got a great group here. I mean, they're well coached. James Thompson just keeps looking strong. I mean, I saw him throwing his body around. I thought Eason was even better. I thought he really looked good. We didn't see Grayson Halton, but he is, really quick, dominating interior rusher at 300 pounds and loves football. I mean, they just got a great group of dudes right there inside. And I just think that could be shaking kind of the whole thing. I mean, now you've got depth. You've got guys that you could trade. They've got moves that they can make. I mean, it's going to be interesting. And I think these defensive tackles are looking incredibly good. And then, I thought all three of those backers I wanted to see in the pregame, Jaden Duggar, Larry Worth, and Nick Martin. I thought they all looked good, and then throw Garrett Wallow and Tatum Bethune in there. I mean, how do you cut Garrett Wallow the way he's playing? I mean, he's playing great. If I was Luke Gifford, I'd be a little concerned right now. I mean, Garrett Wallow can play special teams, and he's a lot cheaper, I believe. So I don't know. It's a lot of good. I was hoping to see this, like a lot of players, a lot of young players, all kind of coming together. Raheem is thought to be a very good, guys play for him. And that was the comment that Chris Kasarik made to me when I asked him about Raheem. He's like, look, it's really evident to me why Raheem's had so much success. He's like, guys want to make him happy. He builds a great rapport through trust, and he's very positive with the guys. He builds them up. He establishes a very positive football culture, and guys improve and guys develop, and they all they really play hard for him, and he gets it out of them. And I've heard that kind of phrase. A lot of personnel guys will say that about coaches. It's like, hey, let's see if they can get it out of him. Like, the guy's got talent. I know. I was there. I had the stopwatch. He can play. It's like, we'll see if this coach can get it out of him. But Raheem's, I think, an expert at getting the guys he wants, that he knows can play in his system. And I just think that D-line combination inside, Eason, Thompson, Halton, and now you got Collins and West. And to me, the most biggest positive of the 49ers offseason is Osa Odigizua. It's like Dallas are just fools. They're just such a dumb organization. And to trade Osa Odigizua in his prime to a team that is one of your arch rivals that stands between you and the Super Bowl, Osa Odigizua has been just kicking butt. So to me, that interior is really the biggest improvement. They look so much better inside, so many more bodies, so much more strength, so much more talent. So I think that makes a big difference, and I'm eager to see what the trade's coming. I think there's a trade coming. I think Collins or West gets dealt. I think they're going to keep these other young guys. It's a new sheriff in town. Some of the old regime guys. I don't know who's going to stay and who's going to go. I'll tell you the most amazing thing. Think about tonight. You didn't even have Bosa, and you didn't have Mikael Williams. And Mikael Williams is really great against the run. He's getting better as a pass rusher. He's an awesome interior rusher. I mean, this 49er defense is young. It's one of the youngest units in football. But, man, it's explosive. You know what I mean? There's a lot of athletes here. If they pick the right guys and coach them up the right way, who knows? Who knows?
No Fred or Dre tonight either.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but this defense is an unknown, but tonight I feel pretty good. They shut down the Chargers run game. Herbert only played one series. I don't know. I guess the other question is this. Was the Niners defense good, or is Trey Lance really bad? Trey Lance was 10 of 16 for 73 yards. He doesn't really see it. He had 2 runs for 42 yards. But he's
one for 37. Yeah, it looked like North Dakota State run.
But I mean, he doesn't quite. He's kind of, he's not the most accurate. Doesn't quite see it.
Yeah.
Is that why the Niners defense looked good? That would be my question.
Larry, I would love to see the Niners just go for it. They've got a window, with all these vets. It's kind of like maybe this might be the last year or two with these vets. I don't know, the younger guys looking good coming up, but you got a lot of all pros that are aging. And John Lynch, you mentioned, was a safety. He knows the importance of somebody in the backfield overseeing the defense. And a guy like Jesse Bates is a free agent. He's 29. It wouldn't take, he's not going to be a first rounder, maybe a third, fourth rounder. They've got Watts there, like you mentioned. Bates is a ball hawk. He picks off a lot of balls. That would
nice.
help.
Atlanta seems like they're giving up on the year, it seems.
And it wouldn't only.
Who's the other name, Danny? You had you two.
I think a left guard would be something that the Niners should look at right now. I don't know if he's better than what the Niners have, but Will Hernandez is a free agent. He was in Detroit trying out. Wyatt Teller got with Houston, was demoted to second team this week. They're playing the rookie that they picked up. What's his name?
Doesn't matter. Will Hernandez, though, is a broad. I mean, he is one of the widest body offensive guards in all of football. He's just so broad, so wide. And I like that idea of trying to clog it up a little bit and, trying to keep guys off. To me, Brock Purdy's chances of winning the Super Bowl are largely predicated on their ability to keep the A-gaps clean for him. If he's getting pressure in his face, it's not going to happen. But if you can keep the pressure out of his face with a strong interior,
not going to cost you anything. I don't know why they don't bring him into camp.
Win a Super Bowl. Yeah. I mean, I love that name. Will Hernandez is so wide-bodied, and he's a veteran. He's played everywhere, Giants, Arizona, but I do like him. I think he would be a great fit.
I think he's only like 31, isn't he? Something like that.
He's not old. He doesn't move great, and the Niners, Chris Foerster likes guys who sprint off the ball, and he's going to struggle.
That's why what Teller is good. Teller's really good in run blocking.
The guy, I'm telling you, the guy that they have right now, Kramer, I'm eager to see what they say in the next couple of days about Kramer, because I think he graded out really highly based on what I saw tonight. I mean, I saw him make 2 or 3 really good blocks, and I was like, wow, this guy's maybe a little bit better than I think, and he's more athletic than I thought. He's faster than I thought. All right, let's do this. We got one more super here. We got this one. Tommy Black says, need the call-in shows back, Larry. Yeah, we'll do call-in shows. I love the call-in shows. Coach, you do many call-in shows?
I love them every week.
Yeah.
Me and my people, we get down.
Let's finish up. Let's everybody hit one topic that they noticed on the game that we haven't hit yet. And we'll go around the room. It's, we're about an hour and 41 minutes in. So think up your topic for just a second, and I'm just going to take care of this. I'm going to move us to the corner for just a second, and we'll tell you about Prize Picks. We got to do our Prize Picks lineup for today. Actually, you know what? Screw that. We're not doing our Prize Picks lineup right now. We'll do that another time. I don't want to do my Prize Picks lineup right now.
Let's go midnight. It's after midnight. Sharper.
Yeah, seriously. We got 2,000 people hanging in the room. We're not going to do our Prize Picks right now. We're brought to you by Prize Picks, code HMA. Hit your first $5 deal, and you're going to get $150 courtesy of Prize Picks. Thank you to Prize Picks. We love you, Prize Picks. That's why we've got the thing going back there. We're just not.
Oh, that's dope. When'd you get that?
Did you like that?
That's kind of fire.
Yeah, Prize Picks. That's all Prize Picks. Yeah, I got that
Get
Prize
a sign,
pick.
bro.
How about this? This is what Kev got me. Look at this one. This is really cool.
What you got? I'm hating. That's nice.
Is that fire or
what? Yeah, a little radio. Like, hey, keep it quiet out there, family.
Yeah, so I have it in the corner over here, and I don't really have it on now usually because I have it in the corner. So like when I am taping stuff like this, I can put it over there, and then when people come to the thing, I can just be like, they look over at me, I point to it. I'm on the air. Then they're like, oh, they know. Don't come in. Don't come knocking. All right, one last thought from each of you on this game. It was a great win for the Niners. There's going to be a lot of breaking it all down. We'll have much more to say about it in the days ahead. But really, really impressive win. And I thought it was the kind of win that gives a young football team some focus and some confidence. You don't think of the 49ers as needing confidence. They have some of the NFL's most veteran players and established players, but it's not them. It's the young guys, and they got a lot of young guys, and they need to taste that success, and they need to feel part of it. And once you get all these young guys contributing, it's like, hey, yeah, it's not just those 10 guys. It's all of us. And I thought they showed tonight they have athleticism and depth and talent on both sides of the ball. I thought they were particularly strong on the line of scrimmage. Offensively, I'd be very eager to see how they grade out these linemen, but they ran the ball effectively at the Chargers. And then defensively, I really liked what I saw. It wasn't consistent, but there were guys flying around. Tatum Bethune really looked good. And I think just some of the young athletes on defense look pretty good. I'm not sure. I'm still got a lot of concerns about the defense, to be completely honest. I think they need more help, but I liked what they showed tonight. And they look really good against the Chargers. So let's go around the room. Coach, start with you. We'll go with Danny and then Frank before we bolt for the door. But give us a quick thought on maybe something we haven't discussed that you want to still talk about.
Are they going to get out of the way on offense? We already know when they talk about the old 49ers, we're talking about the offense. Let's keep it real. The offense is old as Methuselah. All right. And Kyle is just like his dad in that he loves veteran players, and good on him. He trusts them. He loves to get older guys who he thinks know how to ingest his system and actually do the things that he needs. But we also know that Kyle has had quite a hard time playing rookies and ingesting them in his scheme when they need to play. Okay. So we already see the youth movement. It's particularly on offense. We know that the youth movement is going to happen on defense by hook or crook because guys just have to play. But is there going to be a section of the season where we're going to be begging for Kalen Black to play? Where we're going to be saying, yo, it's week 3 and he's only got 10 carries. What are we doing? All right. So are the young guys actually going to play on this offense? That's the biggest thing for me.
It's a good one. Danny, what do you got?
Well, this is going to be out in left field a little bit, but I think it's
coming from what?
I heard it mentioned on the broadcast. It didn't have anything to do with tonight's game, but they were talking about the first game in Australia and the different travel times that the Niners are going to do versus the Rams. And I think it's interesting. I was doing a little research on it, and I guess the 49ers are going to go over there 7 to 9 days prior, and the Rams are just going to go in the day before, try and stay on California time. It'll be like a 10:35 game in Australia in the morning,
right?
Which is 5:35 at night here,
right?
But that long flight, 15, 16 hours, whose bodies are going to be more adjusted? It's going to be interesting. I think it's a very interesting strategy that both teams are doing completely opposite. And, Kyle's had McVay's number in the regular season. Maybe he's got his number here. I kind of like the Niners strategy a little bit more. Get used to the clock, your circadian time. I mean, that's a big deal. I mean, those guys, the Rams are either going to be very fresh or they're going to be wiped out. I don't see them. It has the potential to backfire on them.
It's a very interesting thing. I agree. It's because it's got two teams taking diametric opposite approaches. I want to think. I think the Niners have the smarter edge if you want to win that first game. I think getting acclimated is probably more in your best interest than trying to fly that far that soon before the game and then just try to play the next day. So I do think it's advantage Niners going into that game, but I kind of think it's advantage Rams coming out of the game because the Rams are just going to be like, we're going to stay in our regular rhythm. Then we're going to throw a major wrench. We're going to fly 17 hours and we're going to play a football game. And then we're going to turn back and fly 17 hours back. And I think there's going to be some residual, kind of like they won't feel good, but the Niners are going to get used to the time zone in Australia. So then they're going to need a few days, I would think, after spending 9 days there to get used to the time change back. And what if that leaves them kind of, flat or tired or wiped out for week 2 and week 3? I like their chances better just to win that week 1 game. But what's the better plan? I kind of think the Ram plan is less risky because what if the Niners go to Australia, they get out of rhythm and they lose the game. And then they come back and it's like, well, we weren't really in our California rhythm for another 5 or 6 days. Well, you're going to have to play a game in that span. So they're in a really, it's a tough spot. I think the Niner thing makes the most sense, but I think if you gave me the option, I'd rather do what the Rams are doing, practice in their own facility right up until you get on the flight. And then you have this hellacious flight. You play the game and you're back. And it's like you're on a mission. You're not trying to adjust and do it right. You're like on a business trip and it's just like, we're going to get through this. I don't know. I kind of like the Rams. I like the Niners going into the week 1. I like the Rams plan better coming out of week 1. What do you guys think?
I like the Niners plan. going 7 to 9 days ahead. All right. There's so much that you just can't account for, which is flight times, how guys are actually going to respond to the flight times, and all of the residual and the time that you're going to need to kind of get to top dead center by the time the game day is actually there. That's what's important. Game day, kickoff. That's what you're trying to get to.
I know. I think that they're to Asia, to China a few times, Coach, and I can tell you, my stomach gets a little upset for a day or two just because I'm not in rhythm, and I don't feel.
It's like you got to hit the ground running. The last thing I hate it too, dude. Like the last thing I hate is flying on a business trip where when I touch down, I gotta do business the day I touch down. I hate that shit. Like, no, I need to either get there a couple of days before. I need some time, but they're going to be touching down from that long flight, and they're going to have no time to recover, and they're going to have to go play a football game. That is a lot to put on not only just one person, but over 100 people, right? Because it's not just the team, it's the coaching staff, it's the support staff, it's everybody that they're bringing over there. It's a huge lift. And you need 9 days to make sure that you get any dangling participles, anything that's not in where it needs to be. You could tie it all together and get everybody there. And on top of it, by the time the Niners play them, they're going to be adjusted to the time zone already. So it's not that's a real thing. I don't like what the Rams are doing.
Red, what do you think? You've traveled before playing sports. I mean, would you rather get there 9 days before like the Niners are and maybe get out of your routine, but you are adjusted to the time zone, or stay in your routine and don't even deal with the time zone and just throw yourself out there and see what you got?
Yeah, I think 9 might be too much, maybe 7, but I definitely think that getting there and getting adjusted is a smart thing to do. I've gone to Thailand 5 times to go over there and coach basketball. And the first thing that I do is I go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you're exhausted. I mean, literally when it's 3 a.m., you're traveling and it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You don't know what the hell's going on. So I also think that, they don't always tell you everything. The Niners, with their brand and their history, they probably have some business things that they need to take care of that's non-football related. I don't think it's just a football trip. I don't believe that. So I think that's part of it also. So lastly, I'm going to say this because I didn't get a chance to say, but
what's your one topic that you wanted to finish with?
I just think there's some nuance. When you have a bunch of young guys and you got competition and you got real camaraderie on the sidelines, I think that helps you, because it is a week-to-week proposition in the NFL. Even the bad teams are going to win some games. So when you have veteran, established players not being scared, but looking at some of these young guys and knowing that they have to work for their position, that lifts everybody up. And when I look at this team, I think of the Knicks. Everybody knows I'm a New York Knicks fan. All right? Why did the Knicks win the championship? Not because they were necessarily the best team physically and talented. They had the best camaraderie. They were the most connected team. And I don't know if the 49ers are, but I haven't seen this level of connectedness among their young players in a long time. And
that's a great point. You know who was at practice the other day? Mike Brown.
There you go.
Yeah.
I went up to him. I'm like, because I know him a little bit from coaching the Warriors, right? And I'm like, Mike, hey, man, Larry Krueger from KMBR. I go, you came in studio with me and Radnich back in the day. And I go, you still riding the chopper? He's like, oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, hey, man, congratulations, man. This was your time. This was so awesome for us to watch you get this ring. I go, you kept that team together and united in a really tough, town to stay united in. And God knows the Knicks have fractured many, many ways in different ways through the years. And I'm like, man, way to go. Way to go. What an incredible story. And he's like, thanks, man. And we kind of shook hands. And then he went out there and talked to the team and just kind of told them, told them about invest in themselves, I believe, and invest in their chemistry and spend time together. And you're right. There's a vibe in their locker room. I was doing an interview the other day with Larry Worth after the first preseason game, and he got a sack. And like, while I'm interviewing him, Ephesians Prysock comes over and starts asking him questions like he's a reporter. And then Jaden Duggar started asking him questions, and they were kind of fooling with him. And they're like, "Hey, congratulations on the sack, Larry." And they were having a good time. They got a lot of young guys, and they got a good group of guys. They're pretty united, and Raheem's very positive. He's a culture building guy, and he's very positive. And there's a vibe. I don't know. We'll see if it carries over. You got to have talent, but there's a good vibe going right now. Green Glass Full says, "Go Niners." How about that Strib coach Ignite Ud?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's my dog.
Okay, there you go. We got this one too. From Carson Taylor, he said, "Would you all sign Trevon Diggs to play free safety? He just signed with Seattle. He's got great ball skills and wouldn't cost too much. I got to think that he'd be an instant upgrade for us." Yeah, he just went to Seattle, so he is off the market. On that note, that my final thought was just going to be, I've seen this happen in past years. Okay, you get to camp and you're like, you know what? We got all these corners. We don't need all these corners, but it's a passing league, and then guys get hurt, and then all of a sudden, you cut Deshaun Jameson, but you're looking for corners off the waiver wire by week 5. You cut who was the guy that Samuel Womack, but you're looking for guys from other teams, 5, 6, 7-year veterans in the middle of the year, and you cut Samuel Womack and he goes to Indianapolis and started for them for a good portion of the year. I'd like to see them retain their corner depth. There's an injury tonight from Renardo Green. I don't know how long he'll be out, but you got Renardo Green, Demo Lenore, Upton Stout. Those are your top 3 guys. Now you got Jack Jones. You got Ephesians Prysock. So that's 5. And then Nate Hobbs is hurt, so he's going on the IR. But Jacob Robinson showed tonight that he's NFL. Luter's NFL. That's 7. I'd go short. I'd rather go with 3 backup offensive linemen. Go a little short on the offensive line. Your backup offensive linemen don't typically play. I would go with that. I would not say goodbye to Robinson. Look what he did tonight. I would not say goodbye to Luter. He's very talented, very long, very athletic. You're looking to play a lot of man-to-man. Do not get rid of your corner depth. Retain your corner depth and figure out just how you can steal a couple roster spots somewhere else on the roster. So that's my thought. It's a passing league. I don't want to cut Luter and Jacob Robinson and go with 5 guys, and then all of a sudden 4 weeks in, you're signing guys off the street, and Luter's starting and playing for somebody, or Jacob Robinson is a starting corner for somebody. Retain that depth. You got quality corners there. I wouldn't let them out of the building if I were them. All right, that's going to do it for us. I'll let you guys jet, and I'll do a couple spots after you jet. But Danny, good to see you. Tell people if they want about your channel, Danny, and where they can follow you and subscribe to. Yeah, NorCal Sports Network, and we're covering, sadly, the Giants still. It's believe me, it's a labor of love covering the San Francisco Giants. But we're on after every post game. We'll be here for this weekend as they get swept in Boston, and so we'll be covering that. And I did, what? I was taking my kid to college today. I got to say this. I'm driving up to Chico, and I'm listening to the pregame show, and I'm like, wait a second. Giants won 1-0 last night. Yeah. They've both won 1 game. This was the rubber game in Cleveland. I'm like, there's not a chance in hell the Giants are going to win this game today. They are absolutely going to lose. I pulled over, side of the road, hit my app. A little money on the Guardians, and before I was even back on the freeway, it was 3-0 Guardians. 3-0. Yeah, you did good. I had him in a 17 parlay but. Got 6 out of the 7. Dang it. It is what it is, but you just go with the flow. But they do have some good things coming later on in the future, which I like, some young players, the trade you predicted didn't get you predicted they should trade for Marcelo Meyer. They did. And I like that. So, check us out, NorCal Sports Network. And appreciate you having me on again, Larry. Thanks. Thanks, Danny. The great Dan Coach Emilio. Frank, tell people about the In the Dungeon show. You go Sunday nights. Wait a second. Hold on. Sorry about that, Coach. Didn't mean to move you out of there. Sorry about that. A lot of different formats down here. One of them just eliminates the third person. But Frank, tell us, give people a little plug on the In the Dungeon show. And I know you've been rocking and rolling on Sunday nights, and the In the Dungeon show, Coach doesn't realize, but Frank's show In the Dungeon goes back to the 90s, right, Frank? I mean, what was the first year of the In the Dungeon?
Oh man, yeah, it definitely goes back to the 90s. Long time,
man.
On commercial radio on the Sacramento King station. But you know what? It's a nice diversion for all the stuff I do during the week. It's a lot of fun. It's content rich and heavy. I love the fact that, Larry, your stuff is really content. Coach, this is the first time I'm actually seeing you. We've never been introduced, but
yeah.
I mean, but if somebody listens to you for 5 minutes, they know that you know your shit and you're really, really content driven. I like to think that our show is as well. We focus on football, basketball, baseball, but we also interject hip hop music. I'm an artist. I'm a former basketball player. I played at Fordham in New York. Played football there too. So it's a fun show. We got a nice audience, and I love doing the show. So we do it on Sunday nights from generally 9 to 11 West Coast time, and it's pretty cool. Yeah.
I mean, I gotta get acclimated now. I gotta figure out what you're about now. I'm in there, Red.
Red's got a show. Red's the man. Red, have a great night, man. Thanks for doing the late night duty with us. Maybe we'll talk to you after next week's game. Always a pleasure to talk ball with you.
All right. Good night, gentlemen. Peace.
Sounds good. Frank Red. And then there were two. So, Coach, you got a final thought that you want to share that you haven't already shared? Because I know you got in late. You might not always.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the direction of the team, and I think that they're close to earning an identity. Last year, it took us a while to figure out who we were. 6 weeks before we scored our first rushing touchdown, Brock Purdy was out by the second game of the season. And it was tough sledding. I'm excited for us to put our stake in the ground. We know who we are before we even get to Melbourne. Like, I'm ready for them to understand our identity. I don't want to be playing games figuring out, what are we going to do with the run game because Christian's hurt? Or what are we going to do with the receivers? How are we going to piecemeal it together because Mike Evans is down? Like, find an identity and roll with it. So I think today was a very good, strong step in that.
It was a very, very good game from a lot of standpoints. There were a lot of people that were kind of predicting the Niners were going to kind of get physically manhandled and pushed around and embarrassed. And you can say whatever you want about tonight, but that didn't happen, right? The Niners were not manhandled, pushed around, or physically embarrassed. They were not. So the people that were kind of saying that, that Tuesday was going to be, we're going to see that's the Chargers, that's the Niners, and that's reality. Well, what's tonight then? Is tonight reality or is tonight not reality? So the truth is that it's somewhere in between, right? These are all, the joint practice Tuesday. It wasn't like there wasn't something that you could take away from that. The Chargers looked really, really good. And the Niners' very one-sided victory tonight, the Niners looked really, really good. But, it's a step. It's a step. I think for the 49ers, what's most encouraging is that, they had a lot of their guys on the sideline in this thing, and a lot of the guys the young guys played really well. But I also think that, once again, the 49ers have two quarterbacks that are playing well, that they can win games.
Mac Jones looked good. He did.
Mac Jones.
He did. All that shit we've been hearing about him. Oh, Mac's not really looking good in practice. Mac was dealing. He looked good.
He's a gamer. He's an in-game guy. And it's just that, I thought their offensive line looked a lot, it's not perfect and it's not necessarily where it's going to be, but I thought their offensive line showed some fight, showed some juice tonight. I got to go back and look at it, but I really liked what I saw from that kid, the veteran Kramer, and I'll be eager to see how he grades out. And Cruz, I still think is a long shot to make this thing. But then on the defensive line, watching Thompson and Eason, and you're totally right. It's like, man, I think that's if you say what's the story? The story is that Thompson and Eason and Halton have established that they're better than Collins and West. And the guys who drafted Collins and West, some of them are not there. And I think Alfred Collins and CJ West are too good to cut, but maybe not good enough to keep. And so they might, I get the feeling that we're going to head towards maybe not them, maybe it'll be somebody else, but I think there's going to be a trade involving somebody that Raheem inherited that he doesn't want, and that and that they're going to move. And maybe they'll be able to find a player that they do want in return, or maybe they'll just trade them for 27 draft capital. But I think the Niners would probably rather have a player that can help them. And I think the teams that would trade for, make that trade would rather trade a player that they don't want or don't value as much instead of, valuable 27 draft capital. So we'll see. It might work out, but I get the feeling, especially with Evan Anderson coming back and these young rookies playing so well, it just seems like I would say it's Collins. I think Collins gets dealt for maybe an edge piece, or maybe a guard, maybe a tight end, maybe a safety. I don't know. I think I could see, Collins being dealt for an edge rusher. That's
Collins is going to get dealt.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's going to be, and that's going to shock a lot of people because he was a second-round pick. But it's, we talked about this. Raheem is now he's taken the baton as the organizational. I'm a good organization guy, and now it's like, hey, I'm the big dog in here in this show. I'm the guy running this thing, and I don't want this guy, and I'd rather go. I mean, also, it's not like there's no pain to go with Collins. If you go with Collins, you're probably going to cut James Thompson. Or if you go with Collins, you're going to cut Bryson Eason. So I don't know. I mean, how do you feel? Do you feel like you would feel good if one of those guys got cut and wound up on the Rams or Seahawks? I wouldn't. I'd rather find a trade target for Collins and see if you could turn him into a safety, a tight end, a receiver, a defensive end, most likely. So we'll see. But that's what I'm taking away from this thing. They were good on the line of scrimmage. I'm also loving Jordan Watkins. Jordan Watkins looks like he's going to
took the next step today.
Yeah, took the next step today, and it was big because he hasn't done it. He hasn't done it really. He hasn't done it consistently. And to do it in a game, you can see these young 49ers gaining confidence, and it's exciting. It's exciting because
Strib even looked more confident. Larry, we're about to do a whole nother show. Come on, man. Seriously. About to do a whole nother show.
I'll let you go, man. I appreciate you, man. Have a good one. I got a couple thoughts I'm going to share before I get out of here.
All right, brother. Thank you, man. Have a good one, man.
Good to see you. The coach, always great. Always great. Wait. Hold on. You were saying?
You're still live on my channel.
I know. I just have a couple ads I got to read. And I want to.
Okay. All right. I'll holler at you. I'll talk to you.
I'm going all night.
Get that pig in the pickle on the coach's huddle. Get that Novato Chevrolet on the coach's huddle. I'll holler at you, man.
Somebody's going to leave Maryland and they're going to drive out here and they're going to buy a Chevrolet.
Yeah. Hey, have a good night, Larry. I'll talk to you later, man.
Take it easy. All right. That was it. Yes. Thank you to all you guys for hanging out. Kev wasn't here tonight, but he'll be back for all the Niner games. He had a big dinner tonight. So sorry for Kev not being here. I do need to tell you though, that the Krug Show is presented by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is a brand new offer. They're America's #1 sports picks app. It's incredibly easy to use. Just choose more or less on a few player stats, lock in your lineup, and you're ready to roll. So the brand new offer is new users. First lineup, $5. If you win it, you get $150 in bonus lineups if that first lineup is a winner. So check that out. Thank you to Prize Picks for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. Also, our good friends at the West Coast Diesel's 10th annual event is coming up. It's Saturday, September 12th, and the gates open at 10 a.m. The main activities go from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. It's at the Chris Beck Arena in the Sonoma County Fairgrounds up in Santa Rosa, California. If you're saying, what exactly are we promoting here? It's the biggest diesel truck celebration in all of Sonoma County. featuring tractor pulls, show and shines, dirt drags, dyno competitions, loudest exhaust competitions, and so much more. Gates open at 10 a.m. It's an all-day deal. It's really cool. Family-friendly atmosphere. $30 general admission tickets if you want to enter a vehicle into the show and shine. Kids 5 and under are free. Tickets are available now at both of West Coast Diesel's locations. They're at both Airway Drive and Sebastopol Road, or you can purchase at the gate on event day, which is September 12th. So September 12th of this year, if you want more information, and I know you do, give them a call, 707-595-3026, or their website, westcoastdiesels.com/pages/events if you want to go right to that page, but westcoastdiesels.com, you'll see it on their website. Thanks to them. Also, thank you to Novato Chevrolet. Go see Adam Rogers, novatochevrolet.com. Great dealership. I'm driving a Traverse right now, courtesy of Novato Chevrolet. And also thank you to Sharp Corners, Sports Cards and Collectibles, the great Anthony Catania, who's a big Niner fan and a great friend, and he is, I'm sure, excited about the win tonight. 831-521-5264. You can reach Anthony. He's at 205 Cypress Avenue down in Pacific Grove, California, down in the Monterey Peninsula. What a spot, by the way. If you're not from Northern California and you come out to California, go see Anthony down there in Pacific Grove. What a spot. Monterey Peninsula, go play some golf, have some amazing food, look at the most picturesque coastlines in the world. Really an amazing spot. So Anthony Catania, 831-521-5264. Sharp Corners, 831 on the gram. And they'll have a trade night coming up in October. I believe it's October 2nd, the first Friday night in October from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. at their location there in Pacific Grove. So thank you to Anthony for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. That's going to do it for us. We did have this last one. Hey, Larry, I would like to join you on the show. The Apex Sports Network. Well, you know what? We're just finishing up the show. We're 2 hours and 11 minutes in, but possibly, tomorrow night's stream, we'll be back doing a lot of this. Thanks to all of you guys hanging out. Thank you to him, but thanks to all of you for hanging out. I realize it's a late night deal tonight. It's 12:37 Pacific. Coach is, lots of respect for the coach. I mean, it's 3:37 Eastern, and he's grinding. As far as more grinding, I'm back streaming tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. with Grant and Boone. So Grant Cohn, Alex Boone, and I, 49er Collective. Check that out. Awesome podcast. Boone is very outspoken. Grant is Grant. He's always got something to say for sure. That's interesting. And, I'm a big mouth know-it-all myself. So there you go. The three of us together, and it's toxic or great or both. But no, I'm having fun doing that. So check that out. Also, I'll stream tomorrow with Damon Bruce in the 9 o'clock hour, and then maybe even with Chase Sr. tomorrow and get his breakdown of what he thought of the action. And then you'll catch me on KMBR later on Friday. We got a lot going on these days. A lot going on. Niners with the off day tomorrow, and then they are back in action Saturday and Sunday. I have decided that by popular demand, I'm going to Vegas for the joint practice. So I will be in Vegas on Tuesday to cover the joint practice for all you guys. So keep it locked right here. The Krug Show, taking Niner coverage to the moon and back. And we're glad to have every single one of you. If you haven't already hit like and subscribe, please do. Why? If you hit like, more people find the streams and the overall algorithm. And if you hit subscribe, anytime we're going to go live, you'll just get a little notification on your phone. Hey, Krug just went live. And if you miss it, you can always go to my YouTube page and check it out. There's also merch on there and lots of cool stuff. So thank you to everybody who's involved with the channel, Kev, and all the people behind the scenes who really we don't talk about, but we got a lot of people working on this these days. It's not just me. It's not just Kev. We do have actually people that work for us now and do a lot of editing. We're putting stuff out on all the different social media platforms. Check out what we're doing on TikTok. Getting lots and lots and lots of traction on TikTok in the last few months. So that's been very cool. So thanks to all of you. Thanks to our sponsors. The link is in the description for all of the sponsors. Tonight was, the post-game show we always make about, the friends and family show. Oh, by the way, I want to mention, I know there were some people who were expecting to see Nick. Nick is a buddy of mine, and Nick's going to be doing a stream with me on Tuesdays that I'm really excited to tell you about. Not going to give it away just yet, but in season, Nick's going to be doing a Tuesday stream that you guys are not going to want to miss. But he's not going to join us on the post games, but he will be joining us weekly during the season with a special assignment and a brand new stream that I'm very excited about. And I'm going to tell you more about it as we get a little closer to the season. So probably next week I'll give you the details on this. But the great Nick Matos is going to be joining us on Tuesdays during football season. And I think you guys are going to love what he brings to the table. All right. That's going to do it for us. Thanks to all of our guests. Thanks to Danny. Thanks to Red. Thanks to Coach. Thanks to all of you. I invited JD, but JD's like, hey man, it's going to be really, really late. And I think JD's probably still rolling. So unfortunately we didn't get JD. We didn't get Kev. It's the way it goes. Sometimes we don't get to talk to everybody, but we'll definitely get those guys on. They'll be on regularly throughout the season. So anyway, that's going to do it for us. If there's one, theme that also, comes out of this thing, it's this. Had some bad drafts, but this last one was not one of them. This was a very good draft, and it's very encouraging to see them have this many young players. And when you have this many young players who all mature at the same time, if it happens, it's explosive, and you can make huge strides forward. And if the 49ers have 5 young players that are going to bust out this year, they might be pretty good. But if they somehow have 15 or 20 young players bust out this year, they may win that 6th Lombardi. So very exciting night, I thought, watching the young Niners come of age. Have a great night. The grind never ends. Go Niners. Peace.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get